Hey everybody, how you doing? Tekking and Barry's here today. I'm not gonna lie, today I'm kind of pressed for time. I have a lot of stuff going on, so I don't really have time for a long thought-out intro. Oh, I bought a new stapler yesterday. Check out this new stapler. Stapler-chan is our new representative on the Tekking101 channel. Sorry, Barry, your time is up. It's all about the stapler now. Okay, so hey everybody, how you doing? Today we're going to be talking about Chapter 1010 spoilers, just letting everybody know. Today we're going to be talking about the dynamic of this whole fight at Onigashima, because things have kind of gotten knocked out of whack. Was I the only one that thought that, like, okay, we had the Scabbards fighting Kaido, and they got beat down, alright, I guess we all assumed. I mean, it would have been cool to see the Scabbards just straight up just take care of Kaido right there, right? Like, Luffy and the others show up to the roof, and all of a sudden, just like, Kaido's dead on the ground, blood everywhere, it's just spewing out like a dang fire hydrant, and then Kinemon's there just with his swords, like, ah! We have avenged our daimyo! Like, that would have been cool. That would have been epic as hell. But no, I think we assumed the Scabbards weren't going to finish the fight. And it's good, though, because the Scabbards are now, like, going to other battles, like Raizo's facing off against Fuku, Rokuju, and everybody like that. But I assumed that, like, when we got to Luffy and Kid and Killer and Law and Zoro, wait, no, that's Izuku Midoriya. I did assume that Big Mom was going to get taken out of the battle at some point, and it was just going to, you know, break down to the 5 pirates of the, you know, the worst generation fighting against Kaido. So now, from what happened last chapter, everything has kind of gotten knocked out of whack. Big Mom did get separated, and Kid and Killer decided to go fight her, so that's going to be their own individual battle. And you know what? I really hope Oda doesn't skip over that, and I really hope he doesn't do like, oh, okay, here's just like brief, you know, cutovers to seeing Big Mom fighting against Kid and Killer. I really hope, like, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, okay? This is Big Mom. She's a Yonko as well. We had a whole arc focused on her, so I understand if Oda does not want to focus on Big Mom as much in, you know, Wano, because this is Kaido's arc and everything like that. But we still got Kid and Killer going up against one of the Yonko. I want to see that fight. I mean, even if they get beaten down, which is a distinct possibility, I still want to see that fight. If you want to take a few chapters and just show us Kid and Killer fighting against Big Mom, and the Straw Hats and the other, you know, like the Scabbards and everybody don't show up during those chapters, I would be okay with that, because that's kind of a significant deal. I'm really hoping it's not just like Kid and Killer like charging at Big Mom, and then we cut away for a few chapters, and maybe we see a few snippets of them struggling, and then we just cut back to seeing Big Mom lording over them like, Mama, I have defeated you! You know, I really hope we don't get that. I hope we go, you know, we see that actual battle, okay? But beyond just Kid and Killer leaving, which makes sense, because, you know, they have to make sure Big Mom can't just come back up and, you know, interrupt the fight again, so that makes sense. But then you also have Zoro and Law here that are leaving as well. And Luffy's like, I'll take care of him from now on. And Kaido has taken a lot of damage. You know, he took some damage from the Scabbards, and he took more damage from all of their combo attacks that they did. Zoro's Ashura, Law's techniques, Kid and Killer doing everything they had, Luffy's Gear 4th and his Ryuo, and now that Luffy has figured out the trick to combine Ryuo with Conqueror's Haki, I think he's realized, like, okay, Kaido, you're wounded enough, and I've kind of, like, realized this new battle tactic. I think I can actually take you on one-on-one, or at the very least, it's like, I have a chance now, alright? So he told Zoro and Law, you know, you guys get out of here. Zoro is straight up unconscious right now. Law is still, you know, aware of himself. So Law, being a doctor, I'm imagining, would be able to perform some sort of first aid or some sort of surgery on Zoro to at least get him back to be conscious again, like, stabilize him. I'm assuming that's what's going to happen in the very next scene. But now they're leaving. So, Luffy's gonna fight against Kaido one-on-one. We're not really here to talk about that today, because that's gonna be more of a typical One Piece final boss fight, I guess. But I want to talk about what's gonna happen to Zoro and Law then. You know, if Law, you know, heals Zoro, maybe not completely, like, it would be really crazy if we actually get to see, like, okay, this is how Law, I mean, that might be a little bit seinen for One Piece. Like, you know, Zoro's unconscious, you know, Law uses his room to, like, teleport them away, and so they're in, like, a random room in Onigashima, and Law's like, okay, I gotta make sure Zoro doesn't die. I mean, Law's whole thing was like, listen, Law was willing to let the whole plan fail if it meant them surviving, okay? So Law is definitely gonna make sure Zoro doesn't die here. So it'd be really weird if he, like, uses the op-op fruit to, like, I don't know, like we would never see this, but like peel back the skin and muscle and basically like look at all the bones in Zoro's body. Maybe a less grisly way of doing that would just be to do the scan technique. So he could just be like, okay, I'm gonna scan you like an x-ray to see how bad your injuries are. And it's like, okay, he's got a cracked foot, and a cracked femur, and a cracked hip, and a cracked chest, and a cracked neck, and a cracked skull, and he's just going down. It's like, wow, okay, so we're gonna need some super glue for this. Actually, how would you... I mean, like, because this leads to a whole new realm of, like, medical, medical science, right? Because under normal circumstances, have you ever broken a bone? I've only broken one bone in my entire life. I broke my finger in middle school. I went to go pick up a football, and another kid went to go kick the football, and, yeah, it broke my pinky finger here. And, the doctor really can't do anything for it other than just, like, put it in a splint and then just let it heal by itself. But because you have Law's op fruit, he can literally just like take your whole body and break it apart. He can put like, room, and then like, all right, your skin's gonna go over here and your muscle's gonna go over here, and then I just have your skeleton to work with while you're still alive. It would be a very weird kind of setup here. This is what I mean. Like, there could be a medical drama of One Piece that would be a seinen starring Law. I would read that. So anyway, yeah, you could literally just take out some bone paste, get some paste, and just start pasting up the bones as you're going around, and then you just, like, stick everything back together. There you go. Or it's like, oh man, Zoro, you're gonna need at least 3, maybe 4 gallons of whole milk in order to make you all, right as rain again. But let's say, okay, Law uses his op fruit to, like, quickly heal Zoro. What's going to be next for them? They're going to have to fight against other opponents. I don't think they're just done, right? I don't think it's going to be over, like, all right, Zoro wakes back up and he's like, well, I, tried my strongest attack against Kaido, and that was all I had, so I guess I'll just chill out here. So originally, the plan was, before we did this whole thing with Kaido, the plan was for Zoro to fight against King. Just like how, normally Luffy fights the strongest, Zoro fights the second strongest, which in this case, well, I guess the second strongest would either be Yamato or King. And so Yamato's an ally, so obviously would fight King. Now, I really love the idea of Marco and King fighting. Like, even if, like, okay, Queen is something else. Queen and Chopper can have their battle. Maybe you can have Drake involved there, because Drake also has a grudge against Queen. So, like, Chopper and Drake team up to fight Queen, and then it's just Marco against King. Because, yeah, Marco even did say himself, dealing with 2, 1 billion class, Yonko commanders, that's gonna be a little rough even for me. And also, once again, I've said this before, but Marco has been out of practice for a solid year. For the last year, ever since the Payback War, he's been living on Sphinx Island, and he's been helping out the citizens there. Yeah, he might have been training a bit, but he hasn't been involved in, like, this pitched level of, like, high combat since then. And here he is, and he's holding his own against King and Queen. So if Queen goes and fights Chopper and Drake, then it's just Marco against King. But we could have a big thing there where King reveals another technique he had, or he had the awakened form of the Pteranodon fruit. And then Marco's like, well, I'm the awakened Phoenix. And then, King can talk about, like, that's where we find out his species, that's kind of important to realize. What does he belong to? How does that whole thing work? Does it have something to do with the fire that he can apparently spawn out of nowhere, so it might be a thing like that where we find out what King's species is, and then he uses the fire from that to, like, torch Marco, and it's like a special kind of fire, just like how Marco's Phoenix fire is special. It gets turned on its head. It's like King's like, this is not normal fire. Allow me to tell you why they call me King the Wildfire. And then he releases some kind of crazy powerful flame that, like, burns even Marco, and then Marco goes down, and then maybe Zoro shows up to fight. Now, I would love to see Zoro and Marco team up to fight against King, but if it comes down to, like, Marco being defeated, I think he really helped out this battle. He was able to hold them at bay for quite a while. He helped Zoro get to the roof. He delayed the effects of the Ice Oni. Marco has contributed to this battle already, right? I wouldn't want him to see him get taken out yet. I would like to see him take out, like, King or whatever, but that's why we could have Zoro and him team up there. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see where this goes. Also, I was just thinking the other day, Law and Zoro actually have a lot in common when you really think about it, right? I mean, they both have tragic backstories, but that's kind of par for the course in One Piece. You know, Corazon died in Law's backstory, Kuina died in Zoro's, so that's kind of standard. But they're both swordsmen. They're both in their 20s, and they both wield cursed swords. I don't have the Sandai Katetsu up here, but Zoro has the Sandai Katetsu, and Law has his Kikoku, which means demon's wail. And so that's a similarity, and I guess that's pretty much all they have going on for them. But still, that's stuff to work with right there. That would actually be really cool, because a lot of this cursed sword stuff is usually only discussed in, like, SBSs. Like, Zoro, his Sandai Katetsu, like, somebody told Oda to draw the Sandai Katetsu, like, all of his swords, and he's like, well, the Sandai is very mischievous. Mischievous? No, that's a Pokemon. Mischievous. There we go. There we go. But at the end of the day, it's like it would be cool to get that into the forefront of the manga, especially since we introduced the Nidai Katetsu this arc too. We'll talk about Meito ranks and stuff, but the idea of like a cursed blade, and we didn't even get to see like the Nidai's curse. You know, we know about the Sandai's curse, you know, but then there's Kikoku, and so it's like, oh, is it like the same kind of curse, or is it a different kind of curse? Let me just say this. Picture this moment, okay? I don't know who they would be fighting. King, Queen, Jack, whoever. Zoro and Law go up against somebody, and they do a combination attack with their cursed blades. So Law takes out Kikoku, opens up room, and then he uses a technique with freaking Kikoku, and then Zoro busts out Sandai, and they have a cursed blade combination attack, and it's just like the wailing souls of the departed, like, whoa, and then like attack freaking whoever they're aiming that at, King or whoever, right? Like, that would be pretty epic, and we're already kind of doing combination attacks, so I'm just saying, I feel like that would fit. You think that would fit? I feel like that would fit. And then we can go into the lore and stuff with that there. I would really like the Nidai Katetsu to show back up again. I mean, I don't really feel like it's going to. Same thing with Ame no Habakiri. Tenguyama Hitetsu is still on the mainland, and he still has those swords, and I don't see any reason for Tenguyama to go to Onigashima, but he doesn't need to, because Onigashima is kind of coming to him and the entirety of the mainland of Wano. So we're still over the sea right now, because we saw, you know, Big Mom almost fall into it last chapter, but pretty soon Onigashima is going to be looming over the flower capital, and you know, I mean, this would kill a lot of people, but it actually might get down to the moment where they actually do drop Onigashima on the flower capital. Maybe the people could see in advance, maybe the people could evacuate, but maybe it does land there, and it's like, okay, now we're on the mainland. Now all the rules are a little different, okay? Tenguyama can get involved now. Nidai Katetsu and Ame no Habakiri, you know, those swords might play a pivotal role now in defeating Kaido, and Orochi's still running around, because he's probably not dead. You know, he got decapitated like 6 times over in the last chapter, but, you know, he's not dead because he's already been decapitated, so we don't know what's up with Orochi. But we can get a lot of characters involved that were, you know, previously not part of that. So, yeah, we could see where this goes. Also, the fact that, like, you know, not all of, well, I don't know. Was it stated all of the Beast Pirates, like every single one of them, would be at Onigashima for the Fire Festival? Because Orochi definitely left. He left some of his entourage behind. Because Denjiro, back when he was Kyoshiro, was supposed to be in charge of the Flower Capital while everyone was away. So that means there's still, like, Yakuza and stuff. There's still, they can't just leave all of Wano, you know, empty, you know, like, with nobody to, like, hold the reins, you know. So there probably is still a few of Orochi's entourage there, and there's still probably a few of the Beast Pirates that stayed behind. But they're probably not going to be super powerful. At most, you might see, like, I don't think we saw Hold'em at the Flower Capital, at Onigashima yet, so he might still be in the Flower Capital, or he might be somewhere else, like Hold'em and Hawkins. What's Hawkins up to? Hawkins is on Onigashima, but we just haven't seen him in forever. So Hawkins might be hanging out in a room doing his tarot readings and trying to figure out what's going on there. Oh! Okay! Oh, no! Like, that would work. What if Law fought Hawkins again? That would fit perfectly. Wow, like, that clicked. I wasn't even going to mention Hawkins in this video, but, like, okay. So Hawkins was the one that was interrogating Law and, like, beating the crap out of him in the jail cell back at the prison gallery, right? And so it was Drake that showed up that betrayed Hawkins and let him go, let Law go. And Law was like to Drake, he was like, I don't know what your plan is, but whatever, I'll take the get out of jail free card. And he left. Hawkins was defeated, but we see him still alive at Onigashima. And it was Hawkins that was kind of doing that thing where he was like, you know, that man, there's like a high chance that he will not be alive by this time tomorrow or something. Or like the survival rate for this one man is like 1% or something like that. So I don't know. It could have been talking about Drake. It could have been talking about Law. Who knows? Because Hawkins was interrogating Law. Maybe he had a vested interest. Like, I'm going to run my tarot readings on Law because he escaped the prison. I want to see if he's still going to be alive tomorrow. Could be that. Could be Drake. So, Law fighting Hawkins, that would actually fit really well. And both of their abilities are a little weird. Like, out of all of the supernovas that we got introduced to at Sabaody, the ones I was probably the most interested in were probably Law's and Hawkins. Apu's is pretty unique as well with the musical powers and everything, but we already got a little bit of Apu here. Arouge is pretty basic, just turning into the giant muscles. Bonnie's power is cool, but she's probably not going to show up during this arc. So, you know, you got Hawkins that not only has the straw fruit that can turn into like straw, you know, dolls and everything and do like all the stuff. He can make like extra lives and everything, but he's also got his tarot cards, which seem to like literally affect the world around him. Like he was able to affect the weather a bit, and like if the card is in this one position, then like you can get away, and if it is coming another direction, like it speeds him up or it makes him stronger in order to catch the opponent. So there's a lot of weird stuff involving Hawkins' ability, and I've already done videos about that. It would be cool, though, for him and Law to, like, and that's already been set up, because Law and Hawkins already fought earlier, very briefly, at what was it called? Leftover Town. Okabore Town, that was it, yeah. Okabore Town, they already fought. Hawkins used that C-Prism nail to attack Law. Wouldn't it be funny? Because Law was kind of snooping around Onigashima, right? He was down in the dungeons. He was looking around trying to find the road poneglyph. He might have still found it. He might have already found it and then teleported up to the roof. But he found one poneglyph, and then he was talking about, you know, Corazon and everything. I'll tell you what, Wano Kuni is where all this C-Prism is mined, right? Yeah. And you gotta know that, like, Kaido probably keeps some of that stuff on standby. Like, why wouldn't you? You know, we saw at the prison, at Udon Prison, Armadillo Man, who works for the Beast Pirates, had C-Prism bullets. So if they have enough C-Prism to just give Armadillo Man C-Prism bullets, which are like super rare in the One Piece world. Not everybody has those. If Armadillo Man is walking around with that, you know, there is some kind of armory on Onigashima that has like C-Prism swords, C-Prism spears, C-Prism rifles, bullets, C-Prism buckshot for like a shotgun. That would actually be really devastating if you had like C-Prism buckshot. Like that would just wreck you, you know? So wouldn't it be crazy if Law, I guess he would have already used it against Kaido, but if he found, like, the C-Prism armory, and then he's like, oh, okay, and then he fights against Hawkins, and he's like, hey, guess what, Hawkins? Remember when you stabbed me with that nail? Well, guess what? I found, like, a whole damn jar of them. He just throws them at Hawkins. And, you know what would be weird? What if Law would be able to, like, negate Hawkins's devil fruit power, the straw fruit, so he wouldn't be able to do the Gomu no So ability, and he wouldn't be able to do like the extra lives with like the straw dolls anymore. But the tarot card readings, that might not be connected to his devil fruit, because he was always interested in the tarot and everything. And One Piece, every now and then, we do have some weird powers, like Miss Golden Week's Colors Trap ability. Every once in a while, we'll get a weird power that does not connect back to devil fruits at all. So that would be weird if it's like I've, you know, turned off your devil fruit powers with C-Prism, and then Hawkins is like, you don't understand. I obtained the straw fruit rather recently. I actually obtained that fruit right before I arrived at the Sabaody Archipelago. I became a well-known pirate without even having a devil fruit because of my tarot abilities to warp space-time or something. So seeing Law fight against Hawkins, I didn't even see that perspective, but I'm going to lock in with that. I was going to throw out the idea Law could just team up with Sanji and fight against whoever, or team up with Jinbei and fight who's who, or something of that nature. But yeah, I kind of, because Hawkins really hasn't done anything yet, I would like to see Law fight Hawkins, and then Zoro could maybe fight against King, or Zoro could team up with Sanji. That would be pretty funny, because that would be great, because I saw a comment in the last review that was like, yeah, Sanji's got the higher bounty now, but Zoro just unlocked Conqueror's Haki. So that would be great if Law heals Zoro, and then they go separate ways, and then Zoro's running around trying to find something, trying to find somebody to fight, and he gets lost, of course. Sanji shows up. He's like, where are you running to? That's the exit. I'm like, I'm gonna go fight that guy. He's like, well, you're leaving. We have to go this way. Okay. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, but my bounty's still higher. He's like, yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but I have Conqueror's Haki now. Oh, bullshit. You don't have Conquerors. It's like, yep, Kaido even said so. I'm like, and then Sanji's gonna be like, yeah, well, I have Mega Conquerors. How about that? I can still make a souffle way better than you can, Zoro. So, yeah, like, that would be funny to see them back and forth. And we saw that in the opening, in the current opening of One Piece, Dreamin' On. We saw Zoro and Sanji fighting together in the opening. Now, it's just an opening. It doesn't mean anything, but I mean, Sanji's running off somewhere. Zoro might go somewhere. They get lost, or he gets lost, and then run into Sanji, and they might have a fight against somebody. Who knows, right? But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna get going. I know it's a little bit on the short side for me, which means it's only like 20 minutes instead of like 25. But at any rate, Zoro and Law, what's gonna come up next for them, and how this whole dynamic of the battle is gonna go, let me know down in the comment section below. And thank you for joining us, Mr. Stapler Chan.